Yes, let's go to work, guys. Happy Tuesday. Namaste. God bless. What the hell am I clowning about? How are all of you? Hope we have a good Tuesday on this very special edition of National Gerald Day. Gerald, yeah. That's me. That's me, Meatball. That's me, baby. It's my day today, and Gerald, yes, is my formal name, which I hated my mother for because in grammar school it hurt. It hurt a lot because people were ruthless back then when they heard the name Gerald. And yes, I got the kicked out of me shit a lot back then. But today is I'm inundated with information for you guys because I'm going to use this as a comparison of what it helped me in life. Every day we are inundated by laws. Indeed, speed limits, laws. I mean, they are designed to keep us civilized, as you could tell with the events going on around the country with certain things that, laws are there to keep us in place and we don't kill each other, man. And you see the ones, 99% of people follow it. That's great. And 1%, yeah, they want to be rebels. And success is kind of that way on a monetary scale. It's kind of backwards. You got 1% that's extremely successful monetarily, where 99% are not, or in their own way. They live below their means in a lot of ways. But clarification on that, I can do my due diligence. I was just making the point here. But if you really think about what Einstein said, he was giving us the laws of something that you can't see. And whereas the 1% who attain that monicum really follow these laws, and the 99% kind of go in and out with the laws, you see why life is the way it is for many of those. And I'm going to repeat his phrase because it makes sense with what I'm presenting tonight. The field is the sole governing agency of the particle. The agency is the field, what do you want to call it? God, quantum, meta, aura, whatever you want to call it. There's something governing us that was put in place that if you follow it, if you adhere to it, if you're obedient to it, that's why they talk about obedience in Scripture. They weren't talking about some deity outside of us. They were saying obedient to who you are, and the law is already in place. You are going to have the most amazing life. And these laws here, and they depicted that in many ways, but in essence, they depicted this way, in essence, karma. Karma can be your best friend or your worst enemy, and that's out of the quote box tonight, and I'll get to some definitions about that, because it really makes sense. I'm going to go through quickly the 12 laws of karma, which were very interesting off a reel that I obtained the other day, because if you realize who's running the show, we are running the show by the laws already in place, so we get to choose to follow and or not follow. When you understand that, you'll understand why you're going through, out of the quote box today, like I said, but a word called looping. Here at the I call it the penthouse, man. We're on the top floor here for a reason. I don't like anybody above me. I like to see the environment, and the wind is a lot better up here too, so it's not so hot. But when you get into looping, I have on my television that I run with Tubi a lot of the, how should we say, the sounds. There you go. When I sleep at night, some nights I'll use a fireplace. Some nights I will use thunderstorms. And this loops throughout the night. It gives me an amazing sleep. That's what karma is. It's your looping thoughts going over and over again. Looping is a continuous repeated segment. A lot of us hold that looping in our minds with a repeated segment every day of where we were. The 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day that encumber our minds, that we constantly revisit. And wonder why our life is the way it is, because we keep revisiting what has happened to us instead of what we can make happen for us. That's what Einstein was talking about. The field, hence what you're giving to the field, is just giving back to you what you're thinking about and what you're feeling every day. And they came up with a name for that. It's called karma. Buddhism, Hinduism, all the isms out there gave it a name and all these features attached to it. Well, it's basically been there since the beginning of time. These are the laws that run that we can't see. This is the governing agency of the particle, hence matter. What's matter? Us. Everything around us. The energy, the aura, the field. And karma is what synonyms of aura, climate, mood, and vibration. Out of the Cambridge Dictionary, I wanted to get a little, esoteric on you guys tonight. But, karma in the Cambridge edition is defined as the force that makes it happen. Who is the force that makes our life happen? We do. A lot of us don't realize that. A lot of us are afraid to admit it. A lot of us don't want to admit the fact that we are the creator of our life. But in essence, that's a very essential law. The law of responsibility, which is part of the 12 laws of karma. I'm going to get right into it because this, and how it affected me in my life. And you can compare it for yourself. The great law we put into the universe will come back to us. That's the first law. What we send out comes back. When I defined that in my life many moons ago, I realized what I was sending out and then what I was getting back in life. Number 2, the law of creation. Life doesn't happen by itself. We make it happen. In essence, what I was sending out was coming back. It doesn't happen to us, but it comes through us. Our energy, our vibration, our aura that we emit every day. The law of growth. When we change ourselves, our lives follow suit. To change your life is to change your energy. And all I did was change my energy. Was it a process? Yes. Repetitive? Yes. Obedient? I had to be obedient with what I was thinking about every day to realize what I was sending out every day. A lot of people don't do that. They're in default mode with their thoughts and their feelings every day, going back repeatedly, looping those 60 to 70,000 thoughts of what has happened to them. Hence, they're creating a personality trait, behaviors, habits. We become habitual habits, beliefs, patterns, and therefore a character and a life structure. The law of responsibility. This is what I was talking about. The law of responsibility. We must take full responsibility for what is in our lives. In other words, what we put there. Well, what is our creation around us? Hence, the force that makes it happen. When you realize if you have lack in your life, in essence, what you feel is lack, realize you put it there. And if you change your energy about that lack, you're going to either bring more of it or you're going to bring an abundance of the other half of that. Hence, what you sow, you reap. Think about it for yourself. The law of focus, that's number 6. I'm already halfway through. And to me, karma was used as a tool. And it's quite ironic because if you define Gerald, I'm digressing here. If you define Gerald, the name of origin, it came from Germany. It means bright spear. In other words, I'm a shining light trying to inflict as much information to that left and right ear, that muscle that you have control of to dictate a better life for yourself. So, Mom, I'm grateful for the name. Why Italian and Puerto Rican came in with a German heritage, I don't know. I'll be a mutt, but I'm a bright spear. I'm a guy who's throwing information at you with a shed of light that can perhaps open a door in your life that will have you take charge of your thinking. Because when you take charge of what you're thinking about, you'll understand what you're bringing about. You'll realize that life is not happening to you, but created by you. It makes it so much fun. It gets exciting because you have the power, but you have to implement what you're sending out into the soul governing particle of life and what you're creating from that. Einstein proved that theory, which is now factual in everybody's life, about his assumptions back then. People laughed at him. He's saying, that's fine. Here's my theory. Take it or leave it. And when you realize that, you realize what you're creating in this life of karma, per se. And number 6, the law of focus. We cannot think of 2 different things at the same time. They say in Scripture, you can't serve 2 masters. You got to choose one area of focus in your life. Either you're going to choose lack or you're going to choose abundance. And when you choose lack, you're going to create more of it. You choose all these other facets that are associated with lack in life, that which I was for decades and decades in my life, not realizing what I was creating. But when I chose abundance, life said, okay, here you go. Here's some more of this, a little bit of that, a sprinkle of this, a saturation of that. But it took due diligence on my part in my thinking. And in practicing that every day, journaling and scripting helped me that, and I actually coined the phrase verbing in my book, Me, Myself, and I Can, because it's words in motion, just like emotion. It's energy emotion. Our verbiage is our vibration. Remember that. Our verbiage is our vibration. What we constantly say, the looping effect is going to be created in our life. Number 7, the law of giving. This is what people in Catholicism didn't real. I'm sorry. Perhaps it was articulated wrong in how they were predicting how Scripture was set up. Scripture was not set up to be some kind of ism. It was set up as an instruction manual for life. But on an esoteric level, people didn't understand what they were saying. When you have now all the depictions of what they were saying give to yourself, because that's the life you're going to create from. The law of giving, our behaviors should match our thoughts and actions. What goes on behind your door? When you close the door of your house, what goes on in your house when nobody's looking is going to be created on the outside world. You can't hide from the universe. You can't hide with this facade and say, yeah, I'm good. No, you're not good, meatball. Unless you work on your thought patterns, your life will never change. This is what they're getting at with the law of focus. Number 8, the law of here and now. Powerful shit, man. One cannot be present if they're looking backwards. Indeed. But the past, the present, and the future is all right now. It's all happening right now. It's what you're creating from. Are you creating from the past? Are you creating for the future? Or are you creating for right now? You have this amazing choice because everything is happening right now. It was the hardest thing for me to understand and realize that everything now is creating the next now and then the next now, because time is just an illusion, as Einstein said. I couldn't get that. That's what I mean about people get confused about Scripture as some dialogue to preach to a deity, that when they realize they are the deity, it dwells within us. We have the power. Whether you believe it or not, that's totally up to you. Whatever ism you go by, or if you believe in the law of karma, which is fine. Whatever you believe in is going to be created. So you have a choice of taking the information, running with it, or going against it. This is why they give us free will to choose. The law of here and now, one cannot be present if they're looking backwards, like I said. You cannot serve 2 masters in life. Pick your poison, man. You can choose abundance in life, or you can choose where you've been. The majority choose where they've been in life to run with that kind of mode. The law of humility. What you refuse to accept will continue for you. The hardest thing for people to realize is that they failed. The problem is they're blaming life for their failures, when to me, failure is a blessing. I cannot imagine what would have happened to me if I stayed where I was in life. And the law, humility is understanding where you were, learning from it, and moving forward from it. This is Adler's claim in psychology. He's saying, look, you can keep talking about what happened to you, or you can create a new pattern of thinking to create better things for you. The medical field didn't want to choose that. They said, wait, we're not going to make any money off people that are well. We're going to make money off people that are sick. The law of patience and reward, number 10. The most valuable rewards require persistence, hence obedience. There's that scripture thing again I was talking about. When you're obedient to your values and your beliefs, you can only create more of that. What are your values and beliefs about life? How do you feel about it? When I changed my values and beliefs about myself, granted it took time, an obedient lifestyle of thinking and persistence, that's when the outside world started to catch up with that, hence our tangible reality. Everything starts within. You got to be patient. I was not patient. I am Gerald to the 3rd power, but I worked on that. And it all turned out very well and still evolving. Remember, we're always evolving. Whatever present you think in, you're going to evolve from that. That alone should wake you to hell up and say, wait, if I'm thinking about what Jane did to me 15 years ago and the pain that it caused, I'm going to keep recreating that. Oh yeah, that's what I keep doing every day. This is the epiphany that really should help you change. Number 11, the law of change. And there we go. History will repeat itself until we learn from it. Basically, 10 and 11 are exactly the same thing, but it's only when you learn from it that you grow from it. A lot of us blame everybody else. Look on the internet. Everybody's blaming men, blaming women, blaming life, blaming the president, blaming this. Take responsibility for who you are. Don't worry about what's going on in the outside world. Stop feeding the fire. Feed your own flame and realize who you are as a person. And most importantly, the last one, the law of significance and inspiration. Rewards are the result of the energy and effort we put into it. Remember that for yourself. What you give is what you receive. Doesn't have to be on a physical level there, meatball. It's your spiritual energy, your persistent, constant, obedient energy you're giving to this soul governing particle, which creates everything. When you realize what you're thinking about, you realize what you're bringing about. When you realize the kind of vibration, the aura, and a lot of you can attest to this. I know people personally right now that have made changes in their life, and all this shit is changing around them. Their physicality, their mentality, everything in their life is changing just by changing the environment that they're in to get rid of the triggers that were hurting them. Remember that. If you're in an environment that's hurting you, you're going to keep getting hurt. And until you make that change in life, until you realize the amazing power that was given to us, it should inspire you beyond belief to realize you have the ability to change and become anything you desire. You have to believe in it. You have to constantly focus on it. You have to feel it feel it from the end. Live from the end, as Neville Goddard said. Imagine having it. Imagine being in that spot of the true happiness, purpose, and fulfillment of your life. You get to that point and you're living in that present, you're going to start creating more of that present, that gift in life. That's basically what the law of karma is. But they set it up in so many different ways, man. They inundate you in all different ways, and isms and beliefs and all these things and traditions and cultures and sacrifices and freaking candles and incense. And just be yourself. Just be your true, unbreakable self. Present that to the universe every day and watch how life manifests around you. So really, think about it, man. Think about it. Stop beating yourself up for what happened to you. Christ, man, I did that for I lived in a 12 by 12 roach-infested motel to figure that shit out for myself. Don't get to that point in your life. You deserve better. Indeed. And remember my name. I'm the bright spear guy. I'm throwing lights between your left and right ear, and hopefully this edifies you to change what you're saying every day to yourself, to change what you're thinking about every day, to change the beliefs that you have about yourself that are detrimental to your mental well-being, your spiritual well-being, most importantly, the creations you're sending out every day. So guys, happy Tuesday to you. America's Mentor _radio on Instagram. At America's Mentor on X, guys. Much love to YouTube. As I always say, I'm gaining followers every day. Hashtag America's Mentor on YouTube. Follow my shorts, guys. I'm blessed to have all of you here. I'll see you guys soon, man. Happy Tuesday to you.